Hello, I'm Jennifer Lynn. I write the story of Bree MacLeod. She's a modern day mystic, a modern day shaman, a bon fassa, or a Shanachie as the Irish would say. And she is of the Irish and Scottish traditions. And like everybody else, or like many people, I enjoy videos and I enjoy movies, but there's something really special about reading a book. And there's something magical about when someone reads a book to me. I've recently released the third book in Bree MacLeod's story, The Chalice and the Blade. It's okay if you haven't read the other two. I have them here as well. The first book is Being Here, and the second book is Coming Home. And it's okay if you haven't read either of these before, because each book is actually a standalone story. Each book takes a metaphysical or a mystical concept and explores it through story. So Bree and the other characters are fictional, but the content describes a living tradition, a living shamanic Celtic mystical tradition. And today I'd like to offer you a touch of magic and read a chapter to you from The Chalice and the Blade. It's chapter 5. So just to give you a little background, Bree has just returned to St. Louis. She's been away. She's been in Ireland kind of hiding. She's gone through a difficult time, and she really wasn't wanting to face it very well. And she's finally been prompted by her allies to return to the life that she left behind her. And so we pick her up coming back. She's back in St. Louis. It's chapter 5 of The Chalice and the Blade. As the door drifted closed behind her, Bree took 3 steps into the Café de Lis and stopped. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, flooding the cafe and bathing the guests sitting on the overstuffed sofas in soft golden light. Fairy light, Gwen used to call it, her own kiss of magic. "Bree!" A woman squealed from behind the espresso machine, then launched herself over the counter. Arms flailing above curly red hair, she ran across the room. "Bree! Bree!" Nodding slowly, Bree gestured to the woman. "Hello, Sheila." Then she cast her gaze around the open room and sighed. "I'm really here." "Bree!" Oof! Bree turned toward Sheila's voice and found herself lifted into a bear hug. Her toes just reaching the floor, she struggled to keep her balance. As Bree's feet settled onto wood again, Sheila stepped back and propped her hands on her hips. "Fergus said you'd be coming." She chuckled and shook her head. "Serves me right for not believing him. I thought he was teasing me. Again." "She's so quick to laugh, that one." Gwen's voice echoed through Bree. Dropping her gaze to the left, a ghostly image of her former lover flickered in the sunlight, standing beside her, just like she always did. The ghostly woman smiled at Bree, and she's so easy to tease. Bree blinked back tears as a gentle warmth spread up her legs and torso. "You look well enough." Sheila's gaze softened, bathing Bree in tender compassion. "Glad you're back with us." Bree lifted her eyes to meet the woman's and offered her a thin smile. "Am I?" Red eyebrows darted upward. "The usual?" "Sure," Bree shrugged. "Right." Sheila clapped her hands together and rubbed them. "Coming right up." Bree watched Gwen's favorite barista stride back toward the coffee bar. She and Gwen, they always loved this place. Bree sighed and looked around the room. Soft golden sunlight spilled from the windows, illuminating her favorite love seat. She walked up to the overstuffed chair, reached out, and ran her fingers along the ribbing on the lavender throw pillows. "You must help me." Bree lifted her gaze towards the woman's voice. Oak trees stretched all around her, their autumn leaves spilling a sea of orange and red through the old growth of forest. Her breath clouded before her, lingering on the damp, chilly air, and she shivered. She turned to look for the woman who had summoned her here. You must help me. Turning toward the frantic voice, Bree hit something solid, and fire seared across her arm. "Oh, Bree!" Sheila cried out and took a step back. "I'm so sorry." A cloth napkin pressed against her arm as Sheila cleaned the spilled coffee from her skin. In Bree's inner vision, blood seeped from the reddened cloth and dripped onto the floor at her feet. "Are you okay?" Bree lifted her gaze. Before her, a ceramic chalice curved in Sheila's hands. Etched in spiraling chevrons, the ancient vessel radiated opalescent light. "Bree?" Sheila touched her arm, and Bree's gaze snapped to meet the woman's. When she looked back at Sheila's hands, they held an ordinary cup of coffee. Bree frowned. "Here," Sheila's voice flowed soft, echoing Gwen's tones and words as she encouraged Bree into the overstuffed chair. "Have a seat. Just relax and let me care for you for a while." Shaking slightly, Bree sank into the soft cushions. To her left, Sheila leaned forward and placed what remained of the cup of coffee on the low table before Bree. "Is Tasha in the office?" Sheila turned and studied Bree's face. The look of caring concern made Bree wonder just what or how much Sheila saw. "Of course. Want me to tell her you're here?" Bree nodded mutely. Sheila cast a long glance in Bree's direction, then turned and disappeared into the back. Bree stared at the coffee cup. Now perfectly ordinary, steam rose from the rich, dark liquid within it to dissolve into the sunlight, streaming in through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the cafe. She shook her head. What's that all about? The bouncing notes of an Irish jig poured around her as the telephone in her jeans pocket vibrated. Pulling it out, Fergus's number glowed on the screen. She pressed answer and lifted the telephone to her ear. "Changed your mind so soon?" "What?" The soft haze of puzzlement drifted over her. No, dinner is definitely a go." Fergus paused. "I was calling with a professional question." Bree's eyebrows rose. "Which is?" "I know you're only just home, but..." Fergus's voice wavered. "Are you available for work?" Light flashed before Bree and pulled to bathe her coffee cup in a golden halo. As Bree stared, the cup grew a long stem, and the basin rounded to form a chalice. Weeping through the ceramic sides, blood slid down to the base and spilled onto the floor at her feet. "Yes," Bree exhaled. "Yes, I am." The Chalice and the Blade, as well as the other books of Bree MacLeod's story, are all available on Amazon. You can follow the link mybook.2/Chalice on Amazon. I hope you've enjoyed this chapter, and I hope you enjoy Bree MacLeod's story. Benachti, blessings, and be well.